Good morning. I'm District Court Judge Lynn Billings Vela, and it's my honor to preside over this morning's trial. And thank you in advance for being patient with my lack of technological expertise. So are the plaintiffs all present and ready to proceed?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
Is the defense team all present and ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
If parties will please post your rosters in the chat feature so our judging panel can make those notations. And then we have some introductory matters before we start. See the trial roster for the defense. Thank you.
Okay, this is the defense. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. Defense first witness. Witness one. Defense one. Blake. Okay, Blake. Got it. Second witness. Skylar. Got it. Defense third witness.
Here's my first problem. I apologize. I am unable to open in Word the defense roster. Is it possible to have each team share your screens?
Yes, Your Honor. Who would you like to have them share their screen first? Plaintiff or defense?
I'm going to keep myself muted most of the morning. So maybe if we begin with the plaintiffs, I don't know if you've posted, because I'm just seeing one attorney named Abby.
Your Honor, the defense is currently working on putting the roster for the defense in the group chat.
Okay.
I'm almost finished.
I can't speak for my other panelists, but I'm not able to download that document. I'm hoping maybe you could screen share your rosters.
I'm so sorry. I accidentally said defense. I meant to say that we are the plaintiff.
Okay. No problem.
Your Honor, while we're waiting, would you like the defense to share their screen and show you the team roster?
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
Plaintiff.
our panelists been able to record the defense team roster? Mr. K, Ms. Flores?
Yes, Your Honor.
So I think we're ready for plaintiffs to share their roster. Okay, if it's in the chat. And if I could ask, I don't know if we've got a team captain from the plaintiffs, I might have to have you walk me through what you mean by Attorney Abby. Is that the attorney making the opening?
Yes.
Okay. And then in the witness order, we've got Esteban directing, Dakota Weirs is the character represented by Dom Garcia. Maybe somebody can help me appreciate
I can
this.
quickly
Yeah,
clarify for this if you'd like.
thank you, counsel. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. So the attorney, Abby, is going to be the attorney who's giving the opening statement for the.
Yep, just keep going. Run
Okay,
me through
and
the
she
whole
will also-
roster.
Okay, the same attorney, Abby, will be directing Dakota Weirs, who is Damian Garcia. And she will be crossing. Okay, and then our next attorney is Esteban Vega. He will be directing Carson Durst, who is Joaquin Salinas. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. And our next attorney is Mataye. He will be directing Casey Rogers, who is Ani Hardesty.
I'm sorry, counsel, who is the attorney who is directing on the third?
Mataye.
Oh, Mataya, got you. Mataya. And that is
That's
just
our
from
third
the
attorney.
top, please. I'm trying. I apologize. That character is
Casey Rogers.
Casey Rogers,
who is Ani Hardesty.
portrayed by Ani Hardesty.
Yep.
Okay.
And attorney Esteban Vega will also be delivering the closing for the defense.
And on cross, do you have those attorneys assigned?
Yes. So attorney Esteban Vega will be crossing Blake Doncourt. And give me just one moment, Your Honor. Alrighty, Your Honor, sorry about that. So our attorney Abby will be crossing Skylar Weirs. And our other attorney, Mataye, will be crossing Devin Williams.
And your timer?
Our timer is Victoria. We'll have her put her name in the chat for you.
All right. Are our judges ready to proceed? Mr. K?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
And Ms. Flores?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. And our teams are aware that this is being videotaped and shown to your coaches, families, and other supporters on the YouTube. So you should have already been given permission for that to occur. I want to make sure that there's no one else who isn't immediately connected with this round on the board, and I don't think I see anyone. I would ask our scoring judges if you see any conflicts or know any of the participating attorneys.
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. And do any of our attorneys or team members have any concerns with regards to any one of us on the judging panel? Beginning with the plaintiff
We do not, Your Honor.
and defense.
We also do not, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. I would remind teams and coaches that any disputes arising out of this competition must be reported in accordance with the competition rules. Please make sure that we are staying compliant with our time requirements. And I'm going to place you all under oath. If you were in my courtroom, you'd be standing and raising your right hands, but we'll do that virtually at this point. Team members, please raise your right hands. Do you promise that the presentation you are about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and the rules of the mock trial competition?
I do.
And everyone's answering in the affirmative. Thank you. Witnesses, do you promise that the testimony you're about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to your witness statements, that you will not add material facts or opinions which are not contained in the case problem, and that you will follow the rules and procedures of the mock trial competition?
I do.
And scoring panelists, please raise your right hands. Do you promise to adjudicate the mock trial competition as fairly and objectively as possible in accordance with the facts, procedures, and rules of the mock trial competition?
I do.
And then finally, for our gallery members, including teacher and attorney coaches, family members, and friends watching on YouTube, please raise your right hands. Do you promise to represent yourselves as positive role models and to behave in a manner that exemplifies ethical and professional sportsmanship during and after this mock trial round? Thank you, everyone. Are there any technology or concerns the plaintiff has before we begin?
No, we do not, Your Honor.
Any technology or other concerns the defense has before we begin?
Not currently, Your Honor.
Okay. Are we ready to begin with opening statements unless the plaintiff has any preliminary matters to address? You may proceed, and then I'll ask the same of the defense.
Your Honor, at this time, the plaintiff has no preliminary matters at this moment.
Does the defense have any preliminary matters to address?
Yes, Your Honor. One moment. I'm having technical difficulties now.
And that's not at all unusual. So everyone just take a deep breath. You've prepared long and hard for this competition today, and we're not going to let technology get the best of us.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am ready now.
All right, any preliminary matters from the defense before we begin with opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor. We would like the record to reflect that we shared trial rosters in the chat of the function of Zoom and also shared our screens.
It shall, thank you.
And we also would like that the stipulations agreed to by the parties are already agreed and we are not publishing them in the chat today.
So noted.
And we would also like the record to reflect that opposing counsel has shared copies of all of their witness statements, exhibits, and stipulations prior to this trial.
So noted, thank you.
And one last thing, Your Honor, we would like to do introductions before opening statements.
Let's do that. We'll do that both for the plaintiff and the defense. I think it'll help me at least, as well as our scoring panelists, to make sure we can see you and put names with faces. So beginning with the plaintiff, if parties will please announce themselves for the record.
I'm Abby Rubin, and I'm an attorney for the plaintiff.
I'm Matai Kabruna, and I'm a attorney for the plaintiff directing Casey Rogers.
Your Honor, oh, excuse me. Let me turn on my camera. Your Honor, I am Esteban Vega. I am also an attorney for the plaintiff.
I'm Damian Garcia. I'm playing the role of Dakota Weirs, and I'm a witness for the plaintiff.
Your Honor, I'm Joaquin Salinas, and I play Carson Durst for the plaintiff side.
Your Honor, I'm Ani Hardesty, and I'm playing Casey Rogers for the plaintiff side.
I think that's the plaintiff roster. Now for the defense.
Your Honor, opposing counsel, and members of the jury. My name is Birdie McGee, and I will be providing the closing argument for the defense, the cross-examination of Dakota Weirs, and the direct examination of Blake Doncourt. My witness would now like to introduce himself.
Your Honor, my name is Christopher Cooper, and I am Blake Doncourt.
My co-counsel would now like to introduce themselves.
My name is Caleb Robertson. I will be giving the opening statement for the defense. I will be doing the cross-examination of Carson Durst and the direct examination of Skylar Weirs. My co-counsel, my witness will now like to introduce herself.
Your Honor, my name is Asia Hollabeck, and I am Skylar Weirs.
My co-counsel will now like to introduce himself.
Your Honor, opposing counsel, and members of the jury, my name is Sydney Pavetti, and I will be conducting the cross-examination of Dr. Casey Rogers and the direct examination of Dr. Devin Williams. My witness would now like to introduce herself.
Your Honor, my name is Josie Hansen, and I am Dr. Devin Williams.
I think that's our defense roster. If I missed anybody, don't hesitate to let me know. All right, timekeepers ready? We will begin with opening statements, first from the plaintiff.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Lush Fertilizer has stolen Dakota Weir's future to make another buck. Dakota was an active member in his community, an excellent student, and a piano prodigy before he developed non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma is an uncurable cancer. The illness makes it hard to help around the house and impossible for him to play the piano, his passion. Because of this, he had to decline the Juilliard scholarship, which was to one of the most prestigious art schools. He was exposed to Lush Fertilizer when working at his old landscaping job. Lush Fertilizer includes Darufo, a chemical linked to non-Hodgkin lymphoma that is even outlawed in several other countries. Carson Durst will plead to the court about how Lush Fertilizer Corporation knew that Darufo could potentially be carcinogenic in its unbaked form. Carcinogenic risks could have been prevented by baking it. However, baking it costs more. Dr. Casey Rogers will give his testimony as an expert witness. Dr. Rogers did a study on people exposed to Darufo. He found an increase in serious health conditions, including non-Hodgkin lymphoma, to those exposed to Darufo, compared to the control group. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Lush Fertilizer knowingly included the chemical Darufo in their products, and in doing so, stole my client's future. At the end of this case, it will be clear that Lush Fertilizer is liable for placing profits over the safety of their customers.
Thank you, counsel. Would the defense like to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor, the defense would like to make an opening statement.
You may proceed.
Your Honor, opposing counsel, members of the jury, today we are here because the plaintiff developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. We feel for the plaintiff and understand her need to blame someone. But we will show you today that her assumption that Lush Products is responsible for her ailment is just not factual. Where are the facts? Facts, not assumptions. Lush Fertilizer has created an environmentally sound product and has gone out of its way to test those products to make sure they are safe and they are an environmental company and donate to charities. Their products are known worldwide and meet all legal safety standards. Through our witnesses, you will see that these are facts. Today you will hear from Lush Fertilizer CEO, Blake Doncourt, and the extent to which he and his company go to keep their products safe. He will note the suggested precautions, personal protective equipment that users of his product need to wear to ensure their own safety. We will also hear from Doncourt explaining why baking the fertilizer was not necessary to meet safety standards. Blake will also bring up that he as a CEO has not seen a study that concluded a negative impact from Lush products on humans or the environment. You'll hear from Skylar Weirs, an expert defense witness and sibling of the plaintiff, that in her own research she found other pesticides to be known carcinogens and how Lush avoids these pesticides in their product by using Drufo. She will also give you facts about what Drufo does and the positive effects Drufo can have on the environment. You will hear Dr. Devin Williams, an expert defense witness, explain the fact that Drufo is banned in other countries because of nitrate levels, not because of the causal link with cancer. She will give you her own explanation and research about Dr. Casey Rogers' study. She will outline the differences between the average person using the product and a farm laborer using the product. We will show you the assumptions made in the plaintiff's case today. First, through the plaintiff, we will show you how he has assumed Lush Products gave him cancer merely because her twin does not have cancer. We will prove that Drufo and Lush Products is not the carcinogen he claims it is. Carson Durst, a plaintiff witness and former employee of Lush, makes assumptions about the links between studies in rats and humans. He will make assumptions that Lush doctored the studies to make Drufo look good. He admits he lacks the data and connections with the research team to have solid facts. So he assumes there's a causal link between Drufo and cancer. The facts of this case will not substantiate her claims. The burden of proof in today's case is solely on the plaintiff. They must prove with a preponderance of evidence that, one, the defendant manufactured a fertilizer product containing a chemical compound known as Drufo. Two, the defendant was negligent by failing to exercise with reasonable care to prevent the product from creating an unreasonable risk of harm to the persons who might reasonably be expected to use the product in a manner the defendant might have reasonably expected. Three, the plaintiff was one of those persons the defendant should have reasonably expected to have used the product. And four, the plaintiff had damages that were caused by the defendant's negligence while the product was being used in the manner the defendant should have reasonably expected. If you find any one or more of these four statements to have not been proved, then your verdict must be for the defendant. In other words, where are the facts? We ask you to listen carefully to the plaintiff's case and separate assumptions from the facts. We believe the facts of this case will lead you to find Lush Products is not responsible for the plaintiff's cancer or financial damages. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. All witnesses are presumed sworn in by the court, so I will not be conducting that individually. Plaintiff, will you please call your first witness?
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to call Dakota Weirs to the stand.
Proceed when ready.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
Hello, I am Dakota Weirs.
Why are you here today?
I am suing Lush Fertilizer because I believe that they are fully responsible for my diagnosis of my non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Okay. What activities did you participate in before you developed this illness?
Excuse me. I was a, really active member of my community. I used to be involved with stuff like National Honor Society. I enjoyed volunteering. I mean, really things that help out like the people around me.
And what plans did you have for your future?
I planned on attending Juilliard based on a scholarship that I received, but due to my illness and the ensuing diagnosis, I had to turn that down or postpone it at least.
You mentioned that you were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. When did that happen?
Could you repeat your question, please? I couldn't really hear you.
You mentioned that you were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. When did that happen?
The diagnosis occurred as a result of, my using of Lush Fertilizer during my job as a landscaping technician.
What are your symptoms?
I'm not really like able to do any of the things that I like to do because of the pain that I experience. I go through a lot of fatigue on a daily basis, general like uncomfortableness and pain.
How does this affect your daily life?
Like I said, I'm not really able to do any of the things that I used to like to do, such as volunteering, helping out, sports, etc. Kind of just stuck at home in, like I said, just a state of uncomfortableness, wanting to do more.
When did you come in contact with Lush Fertilizer?
So I was employed as a landscaping technician from the age of 14. And, during that time, my main duty was to spread seed and work with fertilizer. So that was like the main source of contact I had with Lush or Lush's product.
Was there any packaging or warnings on Lush Fertilizer?
There may have been like a general warning on the back, but nothing mentioning that the product could lead to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or anything severe like that.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit 1 for identification purposes.
You may.
Okay.
Mr. Weirs, do you?
Sorry, you cut out. Could you repeat your question, please?
Mr. Weirs, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
I believe that this is the back of the Lush Fertilizer bag.
Your Honor, at this time, I move to admit Exhibit 1.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 1 is admitted.
I move to publish Exhibit 1.
You may.
How much
Mr.
longer do we
Weirs,
have? She's kind of taking a long time.
Mr. Weirs, what are the warnings on this label?
Huh?
Mr. Weirs, what are the warnings on this label?
I believe that the warnings are to use protective clothing that covers exposed skin, use a respirator or N95 mask, and follow manufacturer's instructions for cleaning and maintaining the personal protection equipment used when using this product.
Did you follow the instructions on this warning label?
I mean, I might not have followed them, to the T. I mean, we were working outside, gets kind of hot. I like to feel the wind in my face, so I might not have always taken the most proper precautions, but
Okay. What are you gonna get out of this lawsuit from Lush Fertilizer?
I hope that, Lush Fertilizer can face some justice for what they've done to me and, take some responsibility for their actions that have led to my diagnosis. I hope that, like I said, they can receive a little bit of punishment for what they've done.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination,
Yes, Your Honor.
you may proceed.
Mr. Weirs, you have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma?
Yes, I do.
Did your doctor diagnose this condition?
Yes, they did.
Did your doctor also diagnose a cause for this condition?
I don't believe so.
So there is no medical evidence of you having this disease because of your exposure to Drufo, correct?
I wouldn't say that.
Is that a yes or a no?
That's a no.
And you worked for a landscaping company named Haven Landscaping?
Yes, I did. I was employed since the age of 14 up until around the time of my diagnosis. I obviously can't work anymore because of, the crippling health effects that it has.
You used several different types of fertilizers and lawn chemicals while working there, correct?
That is correct.
And they had warnings, correct?
I believe there may have been general warnings on the products.
And some of these warnings directed you to wear a mask or eye covering,
That is correct.
but
I
also you
can't,
did not.
excuse me. I can't really
Sorry.
speak for many of the other products, but the Lush Fertilizer bag did.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that my co-counsel is sharing Exhibit 1.
Michelle,
And you acknowledge that Exhibit 1 looks like what the label of a Lush fertilizer product looked like while you were working with it?
Yes, I do.
And you're aware of the safety recommendation that is on the package?
Yes, I am.
And you're aware that it says to wear protective clothing that covers exposed skin while using the product, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't wear protective clothing that covers exposed skin while using the product?
Yeah, like I kind of said, I might not have always taken the most proper precautions when coming into contact with the Lush Fertilizer.
Is that a yes or a no?
That is a yes.
But you were supposed to wear long sleeves, pants, and gloves when you use the fertilizer?
I believe that is what the warning suggests.
And you didn't?
No, I did not.
You were always told to cover your face when working with chemicals?
Yes, I was. However, the warning that you're referring to, it doesn't, exactly state that the non-use of these protective equipment could possibly lead to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or another severe disease like I have today.
But your boss always told you to cover your face when working with chemicals, correct?
Yes, I believe that I may have been generally warned.
But you still didn't wear a face covering?
Yeah, like I said, we're working outside, it gets hot, so, I might not have always taken the proper precautions.
So you decided that it was too hot to worry about your safety?
I wasn't really aware of the implications that not taking the correct precautions could lead to, such as a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or more severe consequences. I was not aware that Lush Fertilizer could actually lead to those effects.
Is that a yes or a no?
That's a no.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Plaintiff, you may call your next witness.
Wait. Oh, we never talked about a reader.
Your Honor, just like to call Carson Durst.
Sorry, we might be having a little bit of technical difficulties, or maybe on my end. Oh, okay, we're ready for plaintiff's second witness?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd like to call Carson Durst.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Let's go. Where are you currently?
I'm currently employed at Terrace Greenery. I am the lead product developer
Okay, and how long have you worked there?
since 2006.
What are your job duties at Terrace Greenery?
I am to oversee Terrace Greenery's line of fertilizers and lawn enhancement products.
Okay, and what is your relationship like with Blake Doncourt and Charles Doncourt?
I am very close with Blake's son, Charles Doncourt, as we bonded over the soccer field, and ever since then, we've been basically best friends.
Okay. Where were you previously employed before Terrace Greenery?
I was employed at Lush Fertilizer
Okay. How long were you employed at Lush Fertilizer?
from 2003 until 2006.
Okay. And what were your duties at Lush Fertilizer?
At Lush Fertilizer, I was employed to research and develop Drupo.
Okay. Who was your supervisor at Lush Fertilizer?
My supervisor was Jared Longley.
At the end of your tenure with Lush Fertilizer, did you leave on good terms?
I did not.
Okay. Can you go ahead and talk about your relationship with Blake Doncourt towards the end of your tenure when you left your job?
Objection
What's the end of
relevant.
my relationship with?
One moment, counsel. Defense, would you state your objection again, please?
Your Honor, objection relevance.
Response?
I'm attempting to build the credibility of my witness concerning the CEO of the company that is currently being sued today.
Any further argument?
No, Your Honor.
Objections overruled. The witness may answer.
Okay, let me go ahead and ask that question one more time, Mr. Durst. What was your relationship like with Blake Doncourt towards the end of your tenure?
My relationship with, my relationship with Blake Doncourt towards the end of my employment was not on very good terms, as I had many complaints after it seemed that I was being handed jobs that most of the other employees didn't want. So I figured that I wasn't being treated fairly by both him and the company. So when I went to him to express my feelings, he kind of blew me off on multiple occasions.
Okay. Alrighty, Mr. Durst, let's go and switch gears here for a moment. Let's talk about why you're here in court today.
I am here so Dakota Weirs faces justice and that Lush Fertilizer can be exposed for having products that could cause cancer.
Okay, and what information led you to believe this?
I found a study in England that suggests that it could be carcinogenic in rats.
Okay. Did you find similar studies involving humans?
I did not.
Okay. Sorry, give me just one moment. I lost my place. Okay. And while you were at Lush Fertilizer, did Lush Fertilizer look at whether Drufo caused cancer, or did they look at whether Drufo could cause cancer in humans?
We did.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit 4.
You may.
Okay. Give me just one moment. Okay. Okay, are you able to see this? Yeah. Give me just one moment. Oops. Sorry, just one moment. There we go. Are you able to see this document, Mr. Durst?
I am not.
You're not.
I do have the paper though with me.
Give me just.
I do have Exhibit 4 with me.
Yeah, can you help me real quick? So just click share, right? Your Honor, if I get permission to get some assistance with this.
You may ask for some assistance for technological purposes. But this would be the equivalent of you're approaching the witness, showing them the exhibit as you're endeavoring to make the foundation prior to admissibility. So we can forego the screen sharing part just for purposes of your going through that foundation with your witness, if it's easier.
Yeah, of course. Let me go ahead and start my questioning. 1 moment. Okay. So, Mr. Durst, what is this? What is this exhibit?
This exhibit is an email that had various directions for us and others and the research team to follow.
Okay. And how do you know what this is?
I was one of the few that was sent this email.
Okay. And the other recipient, or excuse me, has this email been changed at all since you received it in September of 2003?
It is not.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move to admit Exhibit 4.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. Objection hearsay.
Response?
Carson Durst was one of the recipients of this email.
Any other argument?
Does not change the fact that this is an out-of-court statement offered for the truth of the matter.
And any response?
This is non-hearsay because the statement is of the party opponent.
Excellent argument from both the prosecution and the defense. The objection is overruled. The exhibit will be admitted.
Okay, and Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move to publish the exhibit.
You may.
Okay. Mr. Durst, what was the goal of this email?
The goal of this email was to reach a conclusion that management wanted. We were encouraged from the document that the data that we find to support the hypothesis they wanted.
Okay. And what happened at the conclusion of this research project?
One of my fellow colleagues found that in its non-baked form that Drupal could be carcinogenic and cause non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
Okay. What happened at the end of this meeting?
At the end of this meeting, Jared Longley and Alex Monroe both told everyone in the meeting to keep us in the walls.
Okay. Was there a report following the research project?
There was.
Can you please explain what the report? Explain the report.
Yes. 1 moment.
Yeah, of course. All right, let me go over a further question, Mr. Durst. The report
It did recommend that Drupal should be baked so it cannot cause cancer in any of the products.
Okay. And why was Drufo so important to Lush Fertilizer?
It was used in the majority of its products.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
So you rose to the company quickly.
Correct.
You passed up more experienced engineers.
Correct.
So you had advantages.
I would say my only advantage was that I had a very good education going into the business.
So a family connection played no part in you working at Lush or getting promoted?
I do not believe so. It did. Correct.
Is it your testimony here today?
Correct.
1 moment. To confer with co-counsel.
You may.
Is your statement today that you did not have any help in entering the company?
No. I was assured by my friend Charles that I could get a job at the company, but I think that due to my own ability, I was still qualified to join that company without his help.
I'd like to move on.
Excuse me?
I'd like to move on.
Continue.
Your position at Lush was a product development engineer.
Correct.
And the biggest assignment you received at Lush was to develop Drufo.
Correct. I also look into its chemical compound.
In your research, you found no studies about effects that Drufo may have on humans.
Correct.
You say that your supervisor, Gary Langley, would read everyone's report,
Correct.
then compile the findings and send it to upper management, correct?
Not entirely correct. I could only presume that I got sent up to upper management.
Since it was above your pay grade?
Correct. I had no idea what happened ahead of what I was paid.
In your statement, you recall it was mentioned Drufo may contain a carcinogen.
Correct.
But the next month, a report hit your desk that concluded the risk was less than 3 standard deviations. Is that right?
Correct.
Is this below what's required by law?
It is not.
Is it your testimony today that this is above what's required by law?
I do not know.
I'll continue. You say that it was obvious that it was left out of this report.
Correct.
But this is also pure speculation on your part. Is that correct?
Correct.
The study done in England concluded there were effects on rats,
Correct. It could be found carcinogenic in rats.
but not in humans.
No.
The study in England was about rats, not humans.
Correct. But it led me to believe that it could perhaps be linked to humans. As due to my job, we have to be careful as we're obviously looking over the product. So we have to make sure each product is safe for each customer. So even though I found it was carcinogenic in rats, which is a similar mammal to us, I wanted to see if there was any kind of connection.
You would agree, rats are not humans.
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Plaintiff may call your third witness.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to call Dr. Casey Rogers to the stand.
You may proceed when ready.
Can you, or may it please the court, can you state your name for the court?
My name is Dr. Casey Rogers.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, I work as a professor at the University of California, Berkeley, in the horticulture and entomology department.
What kind of educational background do you have?
First, I got my bachelor's degree at Colorado State University, and then after that, I got my PhD in agriculture and entomology from the University of California at Berkeley.
Do you have any kind of resume or curriculum vitae to show your educational background and your current career experience?
Yes, I.
Your Honor, permission to show the witness the exhibit marked as Exhibit 6 for identification purposes.
You may.
Do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do. It's my curriculum vitae.
How can you be sure it's your curriculum vitae?
I recognize my name and my employment research, all of that.
From everything you can see, does this appear to be accurately portrayed and a valid document of your experience?
From what I can see, it's accurate.
Your Honor, at this time, I move to admit Exhibit 6.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
The exhibit is admitted.
At this time, I would also move to publish Exhibit 6.
You may.
Have you ever done research related to any of your fields?
Yes, I've done research that has been focused on the long-term health effects of prolonged exposure to potentially harmful substances.
Have you ever published research?
Yeah, I have various published art studies in academic journals.
Your Honor, permission to show the witness the exhibit marked as Exhibit 7 for identification purposes.
You may.
Do you recognize this list?
Yes, it's all my research publications.
From what you can see, are all of these publications accurate and this is what you researched and everything is displayed accurately?
Yes, it's accurate.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move to admit Exhibit 7.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, lack of foundation.
Response?
The witness recognizes all studies and believes them to be accurate.
The objection is noted, overruled. Exhibit 7 is admitted.
Your Honor, at this time, I would also move to publish Exhibit 7.
You may.
Dr. Rogers, have you ever, do you have any experience in the field of toxicology?
Yes, I do. I teach, well, I don't teach toxicology, but I have done research in that area and it's one of my interests.
Your Honor, at this time, I move to qualify Casey Rogers as an expert witness in the fields of horticulture, agriculture, chemistry, and toxicology.
Any objection?
Your Honor, could he please repeat what he's entering her in? I missed it because he cut out.
Counsel, if you'd repeat that.
I would move to qualify the witness as an expert in the fields of horticulture, agriculture, chemistry, and toxicology.
Any
Your Honor.
objection?
Yes, Your Honor, a brief voir dire.
You may.
You have no medical degrees
No, I do not.
and no medical training.
No.
And you've taught numerous courses.
Yes, I'm a professor at California's Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley.
But none of those courses have anything to do with pesticides or toxicology involving humans.
No, but they have to do with horticulture and entomology, which can relate to that subject.
And you have a research interest in toxicology, correct?
Yes,
But a research interest is not the same as having a degree.
that's correct.
Your Honor, we have no objection with this witness being entered in as what opposing counsel has said, but we do ask that she say nothing regarding any medical expertise as she has admitted that she has no medical training.
Any other argument from the plaintiff?
The plaintiff wishes to qualify Case Rogers as a full expert witness. To qualify, a witness must meet knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education. And in the field of toxicology specifically, Dr. Casey Rogers certainly meets knowledge and experience given her research.
The court finds that the plaintiff has laid a sufficient foundation under Rule 702 for the admission of Dr. Casey Rogers as an expert in the proffered areas. If defense has any specific objections, they can make them at that time.
Dr. Rogers, what is Drufo?
Drufo is a bonding agent used in, I'm pretty sure, all lush fertilizer products.
Have you ever conducted research in Drufo?
Yes, I've conducted my own research on Drufo after it hit the market without sufficient studies.
What kind of research did you do on Drufo?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
What did your research in Drufo entail?
I studied for over the course of a few years. I studied three different groups of people with various uses of Drufo.
Tell me more about these groups.
The control group was people who had never been exposed to Drufo. And then the middle group was people that were exposed on occasion. and the final group was exposed on a regular, almost daily basis.
What were the results of this study?
I found that the people with regular daily basis exposure were 10 times more likely to develop a disease than diseases like cancer and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma than someone who never used Drufo, and 5 times more likely than someone who used Drufo on an occasional basis.
What types of cancers did individuals get?
There are various
Objection,
types
Your
of
Honor, outside the scope of the witness.
Response?
The question relates to the individuals within the witnesses study, so that would be within their scope.
Argument?
Your Honor, she is testifying about medical things and she was not entered as an expert in training.
Response?
The witness is a researcher with appropriate credentials and conducted their own study. They may not have the credentials to diagnose individuals with a disease, but they can. They certainly have the experience and the knowledge to conduct a study relating to Drufo.
Excellent argument on both sides. The objection's overruled. The witness may answer.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question now?
What types of or what kinds of cancers did individuals in your study get?
So after being in contact with Drufo on a regular basis, the participants, I'm sorry, just one moment, let me think. The participants had various diseases and cancers, including non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
What is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma?
It's a disease that attacks.
Objection, Your Honor, outside the scope of the witness.
Response?
The witness may not have a medical degree, but they are still an expert and can give and can provide what they know about disease, which relates to their study.
Argument?
Your Honor, whenever I said that we were okay with her being as an expert, I did ask that she make no medical testimony, and this is exactly what she's doing currently.
Response?
Listing what you know about a disease is not necessarily a medical testimony.
Court's decision over.
Sorry, Your Honor.
The court notes the objection. The objection goes to weight, not the admissibility of the particular testimony offered. So the objection is overruled. The witness may answer.
What did you ask again?
What is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma?
It's a type of cancer that affects the white blood cells in your which are called lymphocytes, and so it impairs your lymphatic system, which is your immunity.
Dr. Rogers, was your study on the connection between Drufo and cancer ever published in a scientific journal?
No, it hadn't been published yet.
In your expert opinion, does the fact that your study was not published alter its validity in showing the link between Drufo and cancer?
No, I followed scientific methods and procedures to conduct this study, and I hope that it can be used in litigation and that I eventually get it published.
From your professional experience and the results of your study on Drufo, in your opinion, would it be possible for the fertilizer developed by Lush Fertilizer Inc. to cause cancer?
In my professional opinion, I'd say there's a high probability that Dakota Weirs developed non-Hodgkin lymphoma from his use of Drufo.
Excuse me, Your Honor, we have a time discrepancy of over 15 seconds.
Can the timekeepers confer to resolve that?
So the time for 5 minutes was over 15 seconds recorded. After I let them go for a little bit longer, I have a time of 4 minutes and 29 seconds.
Have the timekeepers conferred to try and resolve the 15-second difference?
No, Your Honor.
I believe we're expecting you to confer and see if that can be resolved. We'll have a time stop right now just for our timekeepers to confer.
Would you like us to confer in chat?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Probably the easiest way. And so if I'm understanding correctly, the defense thinks that plaintiff's time is up and plaintiff thinks there's 15 seconds?
I believe there is a time discrepancy of more than 15 seconds.
Oh. Sorry, I thought that's what I heard you say. How much time do you believe the plaintiff has left?
Whenever they first posted for 5 minutes, I was at like 20 seconds over that. So I believe they have at least 20 seconds more.
And plaintiff, how much time do you believe is left?
We'll follow the plaintiffs. It may have been during the objection part where we got off track. Or defense, sorry.
How much time does plaintiff believe is remaining?
Currently 4 minutes and 29 seconds.
I'm going to find that the time for the court's inquiring about argument will be excluded for purposes of getting us back on track. So we think sorry, it's hard to not see you and see what times you're respectively recording. I have defense saying there's 4 and plaintiff saying 4:29. Or am I getting that back?
Defense is saying 4:29.
Couldn't hear the defense.
The defense records 4 minutes and 29 seconds. I'm not sure what the plaintiff is recording now.
Well, we're not running
10
time.
seconds.
We're trying to resolve this. So it seems like a de minimis dispute between time. So I think the 4:29 versus 4:10, I'm going to find 4:29 remains.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Please continue, counsel.
Dr. Rogers, out of the 3 groups you did a study on, which group would you believe Dakota Wares would fit most closely into?
He would definitely fall under the group that uses on a regular basis due to that being his job and what he did almost daily as his profession.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Proceed when ready.
Dr. Rogers, you say you followed the scientific method?
Yes.
And in the scientific method, there is a step that says to replicate any study that you do?
Yes, that's true.
Which is something you did not do.
That's also true.
And another part of the scientific method is to have something peer reviewed?
Yes.
Which again, you did not do.
That's correct.
And not following the scientific method could lead to your study being inaccurate, correct?
Yes.
And you were initially concerned when it first came out on the market?
Yes, I thought there wasn't sufficient studies on it, so I decided to conduct my own.
And you were also concerned about many different agricultural products at the same time?
Yes, just various fertilizers. Because I'm interested in toxicology, I wanted to study them.
And you say in your statement, it was already known that Drufo was carcinogenic in rats.
Yes, I do say that.
And you also say that you had been hearing reports on potentially negative effects of Drufo,
Yes,
but you do not have any of that stuff provided in court today, correct?
no, I do not.
And again, about your study, it was not a double-blind study.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what that is.
So as a scientist, you don't know what a double-blind study is?
No, I don't. I've never heard that. Sorry.
And in your study, you didn't look for any control factors like familial history of cancer or other behaviors that increase cancer?
Well, I don't know if you could know that I didn't research that already. I didn't mention that in my witness statement, no.
And during your study, other substances were also used, not just Drufo, correct?
Sure, they probably used other fertilizers and products.
And non-Hodgkin's lymphoma was only one form of cancer from the study, not just the only one?
It wasn't the only one, no. There were other diseases.
But your study would make more sense had there been a direct connection with just non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, not other diseases as well, correct?
Well, in this case, Dakota developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, so I was relating it to that, but maybe it causes other diseases we don't know about yet.
I'm sorry, Dr. Rogers, that was not my question. I was asking if your study would make more sense had it been more directly correlated with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
I don't necessarily agree.
And you would agree that non-Hodgkin's lymphoma pops up in people that never have exposure with Drufo, correct?
Yes, that's likely. That can happen.
So non-Hodgkin's lymphoma could be present in someone who's lived a seemingly perfect life?
Well, I mean, it's not genetic, I know that much. So they have to have some kind of environmental effect on them to cause non-Hodgkin lymphoma, but sure, they could develop it without coming into contact with Drufo.
And non-Hodgkin's lymphoma has a survival rate of 72%.
Yes, but there's multiple stages and there are extremes of it.
And it can be treated.
I think so, yes.
And you even made recommendations on Drufo on how to be safe with it.
Yes, I did. I suggest that people wear an N95 mask when dealing with Drufo.
You also suggest that they wear long sleeves and long pants.
Yes.
And you were here whenever Dakota Weirs testified earlier today?
Yes, I was present.
And you heard him say that he did none of those things?
Yes, and I also heard that he wasn't aware of the causes that could come from not wearing those. Yeah.
No further questions, Your Honor. Is the judge still in the room?
Is there a judge at all in the room?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
no.
a judge.
Oh, okay.
Like the Your Honor judge. Sorry.
I think so this is Dan Kay. I'm one of the scorers, and it seems like the judge dropped off.
Okay.
I can take over if you guys want to continue.
We could also take a short recess because I do believe that was the plaintiff's last witness. Correct me if I'm wrong, opposing counsel, but
That is correct.
so we could wait, but am I correct that the judge is also a scoring panelist today?
She is,
I
and
was just worried about the fact that she may have missed the last part of the cross-examination.
I don't think she is gone, has been gone that long. But and so I think she's, let's just, like you said, that was a good idea. Why don't we take a brief recess? And then we can start with defense's case.
Alrighty,
She
thank
has
you.
access, she has access to contacting the people in charge, and they'll get her back online.
Thank you, Mr. K.
Thank you. Oh, so I just got a text from the judge. She said her internet crashed and she's trying to reboot.
Thank you, Mr. K.
The judge just texted me and requested that I take over until she can get back in. So does the plaintiff rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the defense have their first witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please continue.
The defense calls Blake Doncourt. May I proceed? The plaintiff's crossing attorney is not present.
I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. Who are they directing right now?
Blake Doncourt.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, I will be the attorney who is going to be crossing Blake Doncourt. Sorry about that.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Please state your name, spelling the last for the record.
Blake Doncourt, Doncourt.
What is your occupation?
I'm the CEO of Lush Fertilizer Incorporated.
And how long have you worked with the company?
For about 20 years, and I've had to work day and night to get it where it is today.
What does your company produce?
We produce fertilizer that in turn then produces green grass that our customers proudly show off. After all, green grass is part of the American dream.
Let's talk more about your product, Lush Fertilizer. What is it about Lush Fertilizer that is why we are here today?
We're being falsely accused of having a carcinogen in our product, and that's just simply not true.
And now I'd like to talk to you about the measures that you put in place to make your product safe. Were there any concerns about the safety of Drufo that were brought to your attention?
I don't believe so. There wasn't anything that our toxicology department or the EA found that needed to have any concern.
And why were you not required to include a warning label?
We weren't required to include a warning label by any federal or state law, and our numbers were below the average.
And what do you know about Drufo being carcinogenic?
Not really anything. I know that there is some risk in it because it's a fertilizer and there would be, but I mean, stupid people do as stupid people do. I can't control if they eat it.
Please, Your Honor, let the record reflect my co-counsel is sharing Exhibit 1.
It shall.
Oh, great. The judge is back. I'm going to mute myself.
What label have you included on your product, Mr. Doncourt?
We've included a safety recommendation label.
And what does it say?
It says that you should wear long sleeves, long pants, and gloves, and mask or N95 mask or respirator, excuse me, when using our product.
Thank you. Your Honor, let the record reflect that my co-counsel is sharing the computer screen a copy of what has been pre-marked as Exhibit 8.
It shall.
One moment, Your Honor. Can you tell the jury what this is?
This is a profit table I made back in 2004.
And what does it show?
Shows that baking our product versus not baking our product.
And is it true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
I do believe so.
Your Honor, at this time, I move for the admission of Exhibit 8. Its authenticity has been stipulated and its accuracy shown.
Any objection?
No objection at this time, Your Honor.
Exhibit 8 is admitted.
What would baking your product accomplish?
Supposedly baking our product would make sure that there are absolutely no carcinogens in our product. But as the numbers were below what was required for law, it was just unneeded.
And why did you choose not to bake your product?
I mean, it was a business decision. As you can see in this exhibit, it's very expensive. I mean, the first year it would cost $250,000, and by the end it would cost $2,615,000. And that's just money that we could put otherwhere, such as our charities.
And what has this money helped you do?
Like I said, we donate to our charities. We donate 10% of our annual profits to charity. And having this money allows us to give more to charities. One of our charities helps clean up oceans.
You're here today because of a lawsuit. What was your reaction to being sued?
I thought that it was absolutely crazy. There was no way that we had a carcinogen in our product because we are environmentalists at Lush and we wouldn't do anything to hurt a human being.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Doncourt. I'd like to talk to you about your research team in 2003 through 2006. Jerry Langley worked for you, correct?
Yeah.
And she was the Drufo product manager?
Yeah.
And it was her job to synthesize the information from the research team and share that information with you.
Yes, that is true.
Drufo is important to your business's success, is it not?
I wouldn't say that, but it is our flagship product.
And your flagship product is what makes you money.
Yes and no. It's just an ingredient in our fertilizer, but we do sell it without Drufo just because the EU has different regulations due to nitrates.
However, the Lush fertilizer that you sell in the United States is the Lush fertilizer that contains the chemical compound Drufo, correct?
Yes, it does. But Drufo just means that you don't have to apply the product as much, which means it's just overall safer for the environment.
Well, I'm not asking what Drufo does. I'm asking if the Lush fertilizer that you sell in the United States is the Lush fertilizer that contains the chemical compound called Drufo.
Like I said earlier, yeah.
Okay. So, in fact, the way that Drufo works as a bonding agent, as you stated, is what makes your Lush fertilizer different from every other fertilizer on the market.
Yes, that is true.
Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about the exhibit that's already been admitted into evidence, Exhibit 4. Do you recall Exhibit 4?
I do believe so.
Okay.
Would you like to refresh my memory?
Yeah, of course. I can go ahead and, Your Honor, at this time, I will have my co-counsel screen share Exhibit 4.
You may.
Mr. Donacore, are you able to see this exhibit?
I am.
Does this refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Jerry Langley is the sender of this email, correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, they are.
And according to this exhibit, you are among the people that are named to be sent to this email, correct?
Yes, that is true.
However, your testimony today is that you never saw this email.
That is not true. I have read this email. I have not seen it before court because it is manufactured by Carson Durst.
So isn't it true that you were that in your witness statement you stated that this email never existed?
In our computer system, but as you can see, it does exist because it's manufactured. Our computer system was searched and there was no email such as this that was found.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on about, okay, let me go ahead and start with you questioning. During this time, when your company was researching and planning to market the fertilizer containing Drufo, were you not in the middle of a divorce?
Yeah, but that
Objection relevance.
Response?
I'm establishing the credibility of my witness as this and talking about his divorce during the time of these actions, excuse me.
Argument?
Your Honor, we're here today to talk about Lush Fertilizer and its product Drufo, not to talk about my client's recent divorce.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't.
Counsel, can Judge K, I'm so sorry, I'm going to call on Judge K to take over. I apologize. My internet is a nightmare and I don't want to cause you any further distraction. Judge K, are you available?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead, plaintiff, if you would like to continue with your argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm attempting to establish the credibility of the witness as in the jury instructions, it clearly states that the jury needs to take into account the credibility of the witness.
Thank you for your arguments. They were excellent, and I'm going to give you some leeway. So if you could please continue.
Okay, of course. I'm going to go ahead and re-ask the question, Mr. Doncourt. During the time when your company was researching and planning to market this fertilizer containing Drufo, were you not in the middle of a divorce?
Yeah, but that doesn't seem very important. It didn't have any effect really on my work life.
Okay. In fact, you were ordered to pay your ex-wife spousal support around the same time that you were beginning to market Drufo.
Yeah, but that's just the side effect of a divorce. You have to pay those things.
Of course. And in 2004, you received information that caused you to look into how much it would cost to bake. Is this correct?
Yeah, but like I said earlier, it was just unneeded because it wasn't required by any federal or state law.
Well, I wasn't asking about the federal or state law. I was asking if you received information that caused you to look into how much it would cost to bake the product.
Yeah.
And you were informed that by baking the product, Drufo, you could be assured, absolutely, you could be assured that it would not be carcinogenic, correct?
Supposedly.
Okay. I'm going to need a yes or no answer from that question.
I mean, that's what the experts say. So yes, but I'm a businessman. I don't work in the lab.
You created an amortization table evaluating the cost of baking Drufo over time.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I would like to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit 8.
Yes, you can.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to also ask my co-counsel to share her screen.
No problem.
Okay. There we go. Sorry, it's a little sideways. However, Mr. Dunkar, are you still able to see this exhibit?
Yeah.
Okay. So this table covers the time from 2004 to 2014.
Yes, that is what it says.
And according to this table, over a 10-year period, your company would have lost estimated $6 million in revenue.
Objection cumulative?
Scroll up real quick. And
I'm sorry, counsel, did you want to respond to that?
no, I do not.
I'm going to allow it. Please continue.
Okay. So in 2010, in this exhibit, it states that your estimated profit, if you didn't bake Drufo, was going to be $1,921,858, correct?
Yeah, I can't see that on the screen, but I do believe so.
Good. Okay. And if your company baked Drufo, then that profit amounted would have been $1,659,106, correct?
I'm sorry, can you please re-ask the question? You were breaking out.
Yes, of course. And if your company did bake Drufo, then the profit would have amounted to a total of $1,659,106.
I don't believe that is true, but for questioning sakes, I guess.
It is stated in this exhibit 8.
Actually, the cost of baking is at the very top or the far right, and it's only $2 million, and it's $2 million, $615,000 to bake our products in 2014.
Yes, that would be the cost of baking the product. I'm asking what your profit would have been if you didn't, and currently it states that it's $1,659,106.
And would you please scroll down so I can see that?
By not baking. Yes, of course. I believe it's estimated overall.
Yes, that is true.
Give me just 1 second. Yeah. Okay. And in the same year, 2010, the cost of baking Drufo would have been 262,758. In 2010, it's going to be. You want to scroll down just a little bit?
Yeah, but because it was not required, we decided that we didn't need to do it, and then that extra money could go to the oceans.
Okay. In creating this table, you did not include a column for potential future legal fees or financial liability. Unbaked Drufo gave your customers cancer.
Well, that's because our toxicology department didn't find any reason that it would need to be that way. We didn't find very much risk in it, and it was below what was required for any state or federal laws.
Well, I mean, you said it yourself. Stupid people do what stupid people do. So are you relying on stupid people to make you money?
I mean, I can't make their decisions for them. If that's what they decide to do, then that's what they decide to do. I just have a product that is not dangerous, very dangerous, because our toxicology department or the EA did not find any reason that we needed to classify as dangerous.
These stupid people that do stupid things are your customers, are they not?
I guess so. I mean, yes.
And having to pay these damages could also be considered lost revenue, correct?
Yeah, but I wasn't considering that because our product was deemed to be safe.
Well, that's actually my next question. So you didn't consider all of the variables, did you?
I mean, no, but I don't think that any company does consider that their legal fees
I'm not talking about
part of
the
their
company.
profit.
I'm asking that you did not consider all of the variables. Is this correct?
I do believe I did consider all the variables based on the exhibit because those were the variables that were necessary to consider.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Does your divorce have anything to do with today's case?
Absolutely not.
And do you believe that Dakota Weirs is stupid?
I don't believe that because I really don't think anyone should be classified as stupid. I just think that them not listening to our safety recommendation label was stupid.
So you're saying it's just so would you say that it's just a figure of speech?
Yeah, I would say that.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
The defense calls Skylar Weirs to the stand. Please state your name, spelling the last for record.
Skylar Weirs, Weirs.
How old are you?
I'm currently 20 years old.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a twin, Dakota.
As in the plaintiff?
Yes,
Why are you here today, Ms. Weirs?
I'm here today because I'm trying to stand by my research and what I know to be true about Druva.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an investigative journalist.
Who is your employer?
I work for the company known as Rationalist Magazine.
What do they promote?
They promote the resist of spreading pseudoscience and to effectively question jargon and rhetoric in the scientific community.
Have you gone to college?
No, I've not, but you don't need a degree to research, and I've done quite well for myself as an investigative journalist.
Have you published anything?
Yes, I actually published an article questioning whether there was a causal link between Drufo and cancer.
What did you research?
Well, currently I'm researching modern agricultural technology, and I took research from the United States Department of Agriculture and the National Association for State Departments of Agriculture.
How long did you research on the article?
I researched for just about a year.
At this time, I'd like to enter Skylar Weirs as an expert in modern agritech and investigative journalism as she showed necessary experience and knowledge under the rules evidence 702.
Objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
So we will find her as an expert.
Let's discuss your article. What does DRUFO do?
DRUFO is a chemical bonding agent in fertilizer.
Why is DRUFO better than other bonding chemicals?
Basically, it bonds to the ingredients already in the fertilizer, like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and allows those chemicals to be washed away less quickly.
Why is this important?
Basically, you don't have to apply the fertilizers often. With DRUFO, you only have to apply it 1 to 2 times a year. With a normal fertilizer, you have to apply it 5 to 6 times a year.
And then how does this make Lush a better product?
Basically, nitrogen is a dangerous chemical. It's known to cause cancer. And when that nitrogen gets washed into oceans and waterways, it can affect the environment. But with DRUFO, this doesn't happen as often.
Anything else you found in your research?
Yes, actually, known chemicals that are used in fertilizer like glyphosate and arsenic and nitrogen are known carcinogens and are known to affect people and give them cancer.
What is the problem with those pesticides?
Like I said, they give people cancer and it hurts them. But with DRUFO, since there's no causal link between it and cancer, DRUFO actually keeps customers safe.
Have you reached a professional opinion on DRUFO?
Yes, I have.
What is your professional opinion on DRUFO?
DRUFO is a revolutionary product. It's supposed to keep customers safe and actually help the environment. And there's actually no causal link between DRUFO and cancer, unlike nitrogen, glyphosate, and arsenic.
Finally, is DRUFO a known carcinogen?
No, it's not. I've found no substantial evidence to say that it is.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Good morning, Ms. Weers. So you mentioned earlier that you didn't have a degree. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, but you don't need one to research.
Is it also true that you write fiction and conspiracy theories?
I can't always control what I write, but I guess you could say that.
And are you a full-time author?
Part-time.
Objection, relevance.
Response?
I am leading up to her qualifications.
I'm going to allow it. Go ahead, please continue.
So you mentioned that you work part-time as an author?
Yes, I do. Sometimes I have to work at Applebee's, but that's occasionally.
Okay. Is it also accurate that in your witness statement you stated, outside of the USDA and NASDA, I doubt anyone has the overall perspective on modern agri-tech that I do?
I've done almost a year's worth of research, so I can effectively say that, yeah.
So you only researched for almost a year?
Yeah, I've researched all types of modern agricultural technologies and did extreme in-depth research, even going to as far as researching the U.S. government.
So all of your research articles were from agri-tech companies, correct?
Some of them were from agri-tech companies. Some of them were from the United States Department of Agriculture and the National Association for State Departments of Agriculture.
Okay, but that information from the agri-tech companies are biased, correct?
I don't believe it says that anywhere in my statement.
Yes, but the companies want to make a profit, so they are going to put biased articles out there and only the half-truth of most of what they're selling.
I would be inclined to disagree. I took information from the United States Department of Agriculture and the National Association for States Department of Agriculture, which are governmental companies, and are you calling those companies biased?
I'm not calling them biased. I'm just saying that some of them do not tell the whole truth.
If you present that evidence of
Objection, opposing counsel is speculating.
Response?
No response.
I'm going to allow her to continue her cross-examination.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay. Give me one moment. Sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. Is it also true, according to your witness statement, you have a gambling problem?
Objection relevance.
Response?
I'm leading up to what that has to do with research.
We are
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
we are here to talk about Lush Fertilizer and their connection with Drufo, not about her gambling problem.
Response?
It leads to the credibility of her argument and why she's testifying.
That was a good argument. We're going to go ahead and allow her to continue her cross-examination in this area.
Can you repeat the question for me? Ms. Rubin, are you there?
I think she might be frozen.
Can we stop time? Your Honor, can we stop time?
Yes, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Rubin, are you there?
Sorry, Your Honor. I'm not too sure what's going on. Apparently,
Okay, I'm sorry. My hotspot just turned off for some reason.
Oh, that's okay. Please continue.
Okay. Is it correct that according to your witness statement that you have a gambling problem?
I guess you could say a slight one, but that does not have any impact on what I am testifying here today.
But you also have major debt because of this problem.
I guess you could say that my mom was helping me out before she died, but once again, it has no impact on why I'm here today.
But your money for your debt that your father was paying for is now going to Dakota's medical bills, correct?
Actually, my mother was paying for part of that debt. My father had no part in that. And once again, it has no effect on my testimony here today.
According to your witness statement, though, it said that your father was paying for some of your debt until Dakota needed medical bills paid.
I do believe in my statement, it says that my mother was paying for part of that and my father had no part in paying for those debt bills.
Give me 1 second.
Of course.
Okay. So your witness statement says that you're still in the will, though, from your father's will, right? Correct?
Yes, it does say that.
And Dakota's medical treatment is pretty expensive, correct?
I wouldn't know the exact numbers. Would be a question for Dakota.
Okay. But since your father does pay the medical bills for Dakota, it will take a lot of money out of the will, correct?
I don't know. Once again, that would be a question for my
Objection relevance.
I apologize. Response, please.
I'm building up to how she is, to why she's here today.
Any response?
My client is here as an expert witness, not because of the will.
Ms. Wubin, anything else?
No response.
I'm going to go ahead and allow it. Go ahead.
Thank you. Because of this, do you feel that you are resentful towards Dakota?
Of course not. We don't have the stereotypical twin relationship, but I wouldn't say I'm resentful towards him. And once again, this has no effect on my testimony here today.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
A redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Is the gambling problem why you're here today?
No, of course not. I'm here to stand by my research and what I know to be true about Jerufo.
You have a lot of debt?
I guess you could say that, but once again, it has no effect on what I'm testifying here today.
Is your job as a researcher helping you pay for your debts?
Of course, I've written a lot of prominent articles that have actually helped the scientific community.
Not as an expert.
No, of course not. My expertise is purely what I know to be true about Jerufo.
How does your relationship affect today's trial?
I'm extremely upset that my twin has cancer. It's horrible and I feel for them, but their ire towards Lush Fertilizer is misguided. There's another person responsible and it isn't Lush Fertilizer.
No further questions for you for this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. Can you call your next witness, please?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls Dr. Devin Williams to the stand. Good morning, Dr. Williams. Would you please state your name, spelling the last for the record?
Dr. Devin Williams, Williams.
I cannot hear you. I believe your entire computer system is muted.
No, I'm unmuted.
I still cannot hear you.
Okay,
If we could not have time running during this, please, Your Honor.
No problem. I just so you know, I can hear her fine.
Didn't hear computer sound at all. Okay, hang on. The problem with me, I am so sorry. I will begin again. Good morning, Dr. Williams. Would you please state your name, spelling the last for the record?
Dr. Devin Williams, Williams.
And what is your current job?
My current position is I am the lead of the research and development labs at Lush Fertilizer.
And to be clear, what does this mean for the purposes of the jury?
This means I am a research toxicologist. That is what my training is focused on.
How long have you worked for Lush?
In my current position, I have worked there for 7 years, but overall a total of 10 years.
I want to talk a little bit more about your educational background now. What did you get your bachelor's degree in?
I got my bachelor's of science in toxicology from the College of Pharmacy and Allied Health Professionals at Colorado State University in 1993.
Anything else?
I then went on to get my master's degree in forensic toxicology in 1998, again from Colorado State University.
And what certifications do you have?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention that I also have a PhD in pharmacology and toxicology, again from Colorado State University. And I did that in 2003. And then after that, I also completed a post PhD program in pharmacotoxicology at the University of Utah.
And do you have any certifications in specific toxicology fields?
Oh yes, I have so many. I am both certified as a clinical and forensic toxicologist for Colorado Department of Public Health, bioanalytical director for toxicology by New Mexico State Board of Medical Examiners, a toxicologist for Wyoming Healthcare Administration Agency, and as both a toxicologist and also a toxicologist for drugs of abuse by Utah Department of Public Health and Mental Hygiene.
And do you have any other jobs beyond working at Lush?
Yes, I am an assistant professor at the University of New Mexico College of Pharmacy.
And what do you teach there?
I teach 4 courses, Forensic Toxicology 1, Forensic Toxicology 2, Toxicology of environmental and occupational chemicals, and also principles of forensic toxicology.
And have you taught anywhere else?
Yes, I am a visiting professor at Colorado State University and have been since 2003. I was also an assistant professor at University of Colorado, Denver Anschutz Medical Campus.
And beyond teaching and working at Lush, did you have any other jobs?
Yes, I was a toxicologist for Landmere County Chief's Chief Executive Medical Executive Examiner's Office from 1993 to 1995. You know, they say the devil works hard, toxicologists work harder.
And what did that job entail?
I would perform an analysis of human samples gathered from an autopsy, then try to figure out what drugs or chemicals was causing in the death of someone. Then with those samples, within that analysis, I would try to figure out where the toxic substance came from.
And have you published any scholarly articles on the effect of chemicals and toxins on mammals?
Yes, I have 6 to be exact.
Your Honor, pursuant to Colorado Rule of Evidence 702, the defense moves to accept Dr. Williams as an expert in the field of forensic toxicology and on Drufo.
Any objection?
No objection.
So allowed.
Dr. Williams, what is...
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You cut out.
What is Drufo, Dr. Williams?
Drufo is an ingredient that is a bonding agent in fertilizers.
And who is the owner of the patent to Drufo?
Lush Fertilizer, of course.
And Dr. Williams, is the fertilizer produced by Lush the same type of fertilizer that was used in the mid to late 1900s?
Oh, gosh, no. Without getting too deep into science, I could go on for days and days if you really needed me to. The fertilizers used back then were, they would cause a buildup of excessive toxins and other chemicals in the water. They would cause algae blooms, which would cause fish to die and cause an increase of harmful bacteria in humans. Just bad stuff all around.
So what makes Lush fertilizers different?
Yes, they use Drufo.
And why is Drufo important?
Well, with Drufo, it bonds to not only the other ingredients in that fertilizer that Drufo is used, but it also bonds to the plant. Therefore, you can use less of it.
And why is this important?
Well, it increases the amount of fertilizer needed, but also lessens the likelihood of damage to people, the earth, Mother Nature, fish, just Mother Earth in general.
And has Drufo been banned by any countries?
Yes, the European Union has banned it for its nitrate accumulation, I believe, but therefore, because of that, other countries with underdeveloped regulatory structures have banned it as well.
And has it been banned by the United States?
No, it has not. As we've proven multiple times in our great country's history, we are far better and smarter than those across the seas.
And has Drufo been banned from any countries for cancer risks?
No, absolutely not. Lush would not release a product that would cause any harm to anyone.
And what is your understanding of why we are here today?
It's my understanding that we are here because Mr. Weirs is claiming that our product, well, to be specific, Drufo has caused her to develop, no, not her, sorry, him, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
And what does the actual say about the claim? Actual science
This is
say about this claim?
This is absolutely not so.
What makes you so confident in saying this?
We have looked at all of the data of those who don't use Drufo and those who do. There's no correlation, none. The likeliness of developing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is there's no indifference between those who did have Drufo exposure and those that did not.
And have you heard of a study conducted by Dr. Casey Rogers?
Of course.
And what are your thoughts on Dr. Rogers' study?
I would first like to say that being any type of scientist, I have respect for them. We have a hard job in this world today. People want things fast, and science does not allow us to do that. And so because of that, we have a hard job, and I completely respect anybody who has a job like me and Dr. Rogers.
And your thoughts on the study?
It is flat wrong, Dr. Rogers' study.
Why is it wrong?
Well, first of all, it has not been peer reviewed, but also it has the study groups that she used, they're not close enough. She's comparing farm laborers who are outside for hours and hours on end every day to the average suburban gardener who maybe is outside in their garden once or twice a week for maybe a max of 2 hours. It's like comparing apples to oranges and just saying they're fruit. What's the difference?
What else is wrong?
There's not been replication. Flukes happen. Something can happen once. But because of the scientific process that we're taught in school, it says that studies must be able to be replicated.
And what about Dr. Rogers themselves?
Again, I'm not here to attack anyone. I'm here to educate the jury. But Dr. Rogers has shown multiple times that they want to be an expert in other cases as well as they've been against other chemical agents. Sometimes when you do a study, you can have a bias and not even know it at all, not though that you're consciously doing it.
So to be clear, what actual causation is between Drufo and the plaintiff's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma?
There is none. There's no correlation. I am deeply sorry to Mr. Weirs for getting their illness, and if there is somebody responsible, I would be their biggest supporter in getting that entity to pay, but that's not what's happening here.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
Yes. Dr. Williams, you've worked with Lush Fertilizer Inc. since 2010, correct? Over 10 years.
Yes.
Of course, this means you are paid a salary by Lush Fertilizer, right?
Yes, I am. This is not a nonprofit. They're a company, so of course they would pay me.
You're also an advocate of Lush Fertilizer's product, given Drufo's ability to reduce nitrate pollution, correct?
Yes, that is what the facts show. So why a supporter of that?
So you do believe in the work Lush Fertilizer is doing?
Yes, I do.
Given your belief in Lush Fertilizer's work and your employment there, wouldn't it be fair to say you have some bias for the company?
No, I would not say so.
You're sure?
I'm sure.
According to you, any correlation between Drufo and cancer is statistically insignificant, and it's indifferent, correct?
I believe in my statement that I said there is statistical increase,
not that there is no statistical indifference. Does that make sense?
But you don't believe there is a link between Drufo and cancer.
I do not think that there's a direct one.
And according to the study done by Dr. Casey Rogers, whether you believe it is valid or not, there was a 10% increase in cancer diagnosis in persons with prolonged exposure to Drufo, correct?
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. Why don't you think that there's a direct link between Drufo and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma?
Well, if you look at data that Lush has done, there is no direct correlation between specifically non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or other cancers. There's no statistical increase, and so therefore there's no direct link scientifically.
And did you hear Dr. Casey Rogers testify about her study earlier?
Yes, I did.
Did you hear her admit that she did not follow the scientific process?
Yes, I did.
If you don't follow the scientific process, what could happen to the end results?
They could come up with results that are not accurate. When you don't precisely follow what the scientific process and what we are taught in school is done, there can be flukes that can happen. There can be misinformation, which can be deadly.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor. At this time, the defense rests.
We're going to move to closing arguments. Does the plaintiff have a closing argument?
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
Whenever you're ready.
Lush Fertilizer wanted to make a buck, and Dakota Weirs paid the price. Dakota Weirs is 20 years old. His life has been put on hold as he is suffering catastrophic consequences because of the irresponsible and greedy business practices of Lush Fertilizer. You heard how Dakota Weirs has been a young man who has been very involved in his school and community. On top of his volunteer work, he was a member of the National Honor Society and was president of student government. He played the piano well enough to earn a scholarship to attend Juilliard, an opportunity many can only dream of. On top of all this, he is working as a landscaper, trusting that the products he worked with would not ruin his life. Now Dakota Weirs is here, asking you to hold the company that endangered his life, his health, and so many others responsible for the harm their greed has caused. Lush would have told you, excuse me, let me just start over. Lush would have you hold Dakota Weirs responsible for their failures. They will argue that Dakota was contributory negligent because he did not wear protective clothing. The warning was the same generic warning that comes on all fertilizers. That warning was utterly insufficient to communicate the potential consequences to the end user, Dakota Weirs. Lush Fertilizer would have reasonably expected that the users of the fertilizer might not have worn a hazmat suit and an N95 mask when using the product. They had a way to make it safe, and they simply chose money over speed. Lush Fertilizer had a research team that was tasked with studying the potential harm effects of Drufo. The team did their job. You have heard about studies suggesting that Drufo causes cancer in rats, as well as information that scientists on the research team had concerns about potential carcinogenic effects of Drufo on humans. One member of the team specifically raised the issue of non-Hodgkin lymphoma. The team also recommended baking Drufo to make it safe. What did Lush Fertilizer do with this information? They did a cost-benefit analysis. They decided that the health and welfare of their customers was not worth $250,000 to $300,000 a year. Instead, they saw that over a 10-year time, it would cost them $2.6 million to make their product safe. What Exhibit 8 shows you, though, is that even if they did bake the product, Lush Fertilizer would still have profits ranging from $1.4 million to $1.8 million. In perspective, $250,000 per year seems like a small price to pay. The plaintiff had the burden of proving all four elements of the claim of negligence, which was done. The evidence clearly shows by a preponderance of the evidence that Lush Fertilizer was negligent by failing to exercise reasonable care to prevent the product from creating an unreasonable risk of harm to persons who uses its product. Lush Fertilizer knew that there was a potential issue with this product. It knew that was a way to make it safe. By failing to do so, Lush Fertilizer was negligent. Dakota Weirs has been damaged by the negligence of Lush Fertilizer, and Dakota Weirs has lost his future, his quality of life, and his health. He asks you to hold Lush Fertilizer responsible for its negligence and award him $2.6 million that Lush added to its profits over the 10-year period as punitive damages. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the defense have a closing argument?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please continue.
Thank you. Your Honor, opposing counsel and members of the jury. Today, the plaintiff claims that Lush Fertilizer Incorporated has been irresponsible and greedy. And this is simply not true, as their witness, Dakota Weirs, has testified today that they did not follow the instructions given to him by his employers and the Lush Fertilizer product itself. Now, who's really irresponsible here? Dakota Weirs, who didn't follow instructions, or Lush Fertilizer, who followed everything that they legally needed to do to a T? They also say that our client is greedy when our client donates 10% of his annual profits to charities. Along with this, the plaintiff personally attacks our witnesses and their personal lives. But today we have not brought to you anything about the plaintiff's witnesses or what they might be doing at home. We are here today due to negligence, but this negligence is not from the defense. The defense's product was safe, and it's testified as that today. Lush Fertilizer's product is environmentally sound, and they've gone out of their way to test their products to ensure their safety. And these products meet all legal safety standards. And Skylar Weirs testifies to this, explaining how Drufo helps Lush Fertilizers avoid pesticides that do contain known carcinogens in them. Blake Doncourt today has testified to the extent his company has gone to make their products safe. He has proven to you the defense's expectations of the use of PPE, personal protective equipment, while using their product, which includes long sleeves, pants, and gloves, and a use of a respirator, such as an N95 mask. The plaintiff today has openly admitted to doing none of these things because it was simply too hot for him to care about this. The plaintiff asks you to rule this case based upon assumptions. They ask you to speculate that their condition was caused by a Lush Fertilizer product when they cannot confirm this, as they have no one today who can attest to this. Today, the plaintiff has the burden of proof, and they have to prove to you several things, one of which being the defendant was negligent by failing to exercise reasonable care to prevent the product from creating an unreasonable risk of harm to persons who might be reasonably expected to use the product in the manner the defendant might have reasonably expected. The defendant, Lush Fertilizer Incorporated, reasonably expected their product to be used by a person wearing long sleeves, pants, and gloves. And as I've stated, the plaintiff simply did not do this. The defense also properly exercised reasonable care to prevent their product from creating an unreasonable risk of harm. Now, the plaintiff would like you to believe that by not baking their product, the product was not properly treated, but this is simply false. There was no legal need to bake the product, as the product was mostly safe. There was little risk necessary for them to put a warning label on their product. The plaintiff cannot prove that the defendant was negligent by failing to exercise reasonable care to prevent the product from creating an unreasonable risk of harms to persons who might be reasonably expected to use the product in the manner the defendant might have reasonably expected. This means you have to rule in favor of the defense because they have failed to meet one of their jury instructions, jury instruction number 3. Feels awful about the plaintiff's condition, but the defense at the end of the day is not the one responsible here. At the end of the day, we don't know what caused their cancer, but we know that it's not Lush Fertilizer's fault. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any rebuttal by the plaintiff? Does the plaintiff have any rebuttal?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear you. No, we have no rebuttal at this time.
Okay, at this time, thank you very much. I don't know if, Lynn, do you want to go ahead and take over at this point, or can you? Well, I'll just continue, and if Lynn wants to pop in, she can. But I just wanted to thank all of you. I just think that you guys just did an absolute wonderful job. By way of background, I was a coach for about 15 years. I took a team to the Nationals, and I've tried over 200 jury trials. So I have a great deal of experience, and I can tell you that each and every one of you did an absolutely wonderful job. And I just want to thank you for allowing me to be part of this. You're absolutely should be, and the coaches and parents should be absolutely proud of each and every one of you. Thank you. And does Isabella Flores, are you there? And if so, would you like to make any comments?
Yeah, you guys all did a great job. I really enjoyed listening to your arguments. They all were very well formed. So great job today.
Thank you. Judge, I don't know if you are there at this point. Hopefully you've been able to participate. If not, again, this is Judge Billings, and she is a district court judge. So she listens to cases like this, and I can speak on her behalf. She's a very, very good judge, one of the top in our district, and she has some of the highest marks of any judge. And I know from her text messages to me that she is absolutely just thinks each and every one of you did a wonderful job, and we appreciate you under the hardest of circumstances. So I think we've done all of our scoring, and is there any questions by anyone? Oh,
Mr. Kay, this is Jason, the state coordinator. If I could have you, and Isabella, the other scoring panelists, stay on. I'm going to end the live stream and ask the student attorneys to leave the meeting. I don't want to break communication with you till I've had your score sheets. I have been in contact with the judge via text too, so we'll be able to get her scores and score sheet. My understanding was she's having some technical difficulties, but is able to observe what's going on, but not able to video, I guess, or speak back. So we will get that. But with that said, congratulations, everybody. Thank you for a job done well. And what we will do is we will send the pairings for this afternoon to your teacher coaches. So thank you.
On behalf of both teams, we would just like to say thank you for being here today and being able to listen to what we have worked so hard on. So just thank you and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.